Chapter 6. In our village of Lulujiang, there was, of course, a congregation that had been founded by my father. He had become a Christian after my grandfather had experienced a miraculous healing and had begun to evangelize at the age of just 17. He spoke of God's greatness and reported what God had done for my grandfather. You couldn't call it preaching because my father at the time was still a very bad speaker. He had too short a tongue, as the Chinese say, and his pronunciation was unclear. Nevertheless, many in the locality were converted and congregations were established in the villages around ours. In our village, they used to meet at our house. Our little apartment was soon too small, and people had to stand in the yard and in the street outside the open front door. The communist rulers, of course, did not like this, and so my father was imprisoned for the first time at the age of 21. My grandmother continued the prayer meetings, but the communists left her in peace. The farmers were ordered not to believe in this foreign imperialist cult, but many would not be kept away from the places of prayer. In their hearts they had become new people, and they allied themselves to Jesus. In the villages we were actually able to gather together quite freely. The party leadership didn't really want to take strong action. In fact, more and more state employees joined the community. Police raids were now centered on the main towns. They came out to us only to check whether we had any foreigners visiting our community, or because they were looking for my father again, who for them was always an enemy of the state. When he had been active only in our community, they would let him be, but for him to travel around founding so many new congregations was definitely a crime in the eyes of the authorities. As I've already recounted, I didn't get to know my father until I was 4 years old. I knew, of course, that he was the famous Brother Yun for whom many people prayed. I knew that he was in prison and condemned to a long sentence because he had been a successful evangelist and had set up countless congregations. But what a father was, of that I had no idea. I knew from some children that their fathers beat them. Others proudly told of all the great things their fathers could do. For quite some time my father appeared on a wanted poster, so I did at least know what he looked like, but apart from that I could get no real impression of him. I really knew only my mom Nene and a few female neighbors. The men in our village scarcely paid me any attention, and only a few came to our prayer meetings. None of them bothered with me. Only toothless old Shay waved me every now and then, and handed me a corn on the cob or a few cherries. He also taught me how to bore a hole in a plank or a stick using a knife, whereupon I felt very proud of myself and bored several holes in our furniture, much to our mother's dismay.